Everyone was laughing, except me. It was supposed to be my birthday, a special night. But instead, I stood in the middle of my own living room while my younger sister Jenna pointed at my dress and called me poor in front of everyone. "This is what happens when you shop from the clearance rack," she said, loud enough for the whole room to hear.
A few people laughed.
My mom didn't say a word to stop her. In fact, she smirked, like she agreed. I wanted to disappear. What none of them knew was that I was secretly earning $50,000 a month from my online boutique. I never bragged about it. I never showed off. I just quietly paid for everything: Jenna's expensive college tuition, our household bills, even groceries, without expecting a thank you. That night, as I smiled through the pain and blew out my candles, I made a silent decision. I was done being their invisible wallet. I was done being disrespected. I was going to leave, and they would learn just how much they had lost. My name is Camilla, and I'm 26 years old. Most people at my birthday party thought I was just a quiet girl with no money. That's what my sister Jenna made them believe. She stood in the middle of the living room, laughed at my dress, and called it something a broke girl would wear. Everyone heard her. Some even laughed. But no one defended me, not even my mom. What they didn't know was that I earned $50,000 every month from my online boutique. Yes, I ran it quietly from my room for over 2 years. I packed orders myself, answered customers at midnight, and built my brand from zero. I never bragged. I never even told my family how well I was doing. I thought they would be proud of me. I thought they'd notice how the electricity bill was always paid, how there was always food in the fridge, and how Jenna's expensive school fees were magically covered every semester. They never asked who was paying. They just assumed Mom was handling it. But it was me. Always me. I paid every bill quietly. I never missed a payment. I even skipped birthday gifts for myself just to make sure my sister's school got its check on time. But on my birthday, the people I worked the hardest for treated me like I was worthless. That night, after everyone left, I sat on my bed staring at the wall. My chest felt heavy, but my mind was calm. I knew what I had to do. I picked up my phone and opened all the payment apps. One by one, I canceled everything. Her tuition, the groceries, the gas bills, the rent. I wasn't going to explain myself. I wasn't going to yell or cry. I just stopped. And that's when everything started to change. The very next morning, I left the house quietly with just a small suitcase. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. I didn't slam any doors or leave a note. I had already rented a small apartment downtown near my warehouse. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Paid in full for 6 months up front, with my own money. By the second day, I got my first call from Mom. "Camilla, did you forget to pay Jenna's school fees this month?" she asked, her voice already sharp. I calmly replied, "I didn't forget. I just stopped." She went quiet. I could almost hear the confusion turning into disbelief. "Excuse me," she snapped. "I stopped paying. From now on, you can figure it out yourselves." Then I hung up. That week, everything in the house started falling apart. The internet was cut off. Groceries ran out. The car's gas tank hit empty. And most importantly, Jenna's college sent a final notice. She had 3 days to pay her dues, or she'd be removed from her classes. They tried calling me again. Mom sent messages filled with guilt trips and insults. Jenna, of course, sent a few angry voice notes, blaming me for ruining her life. I didn't reply to a single one. Meanwhile, I was finally breathing. My new apartment was peaceful. I had a large desk for my orders, a closet full of new clothes I actually liked, and for the first time, I felt free. My boutique was booming. Sales were growing. I was even working on a new product line. The more I stayed quiet, the more their world fell apart. They had no idea how much I held everything together until I was gone. By the second week, things got worse for Jenna and my mom. One morning, I got a message from my old neighbor, Mrs. Parker. She wrote, "Camilla, is everything all right? Your mom and sister have been going around asking for loans. I heard Jenna got kicked out of college." I smiled, not out of joy, but out of peace. For years, They had walked over me like I was a doormat, never caring who kept the lights on. Now the truth was starting to surface. But the biggest twist? I didn't have to say a word. That same week, a business magazine published an online feature about my boutique. They called it one of the fastest-growing online stores run by women under 30. They posted my photo, my story, how I started with just $300 and grew it to $50,000 per month. They even mentioned how I helped cover my family's expenses for years without recognition. The article went viral. People from my past started reaching out, old classmates, teachers, even former friends who had once ignored me. But more importantly, people who knew my family saw it too. Suddenly, Jenna and Mom couldn't hide anymore. Their friends, neighbors, and even my cousins started asking, "Wait, wasn't Camilla paying for everything this whole time? You mean she paid for Jenna's college? And you called her poor?" The fake image they had painted of me shattered in a single day. Mom tried to control the damage by saying, "Camilla never told us she was earning that much." But everyone saw through it. They knew now. I had always been the one keeping that house afloat. That night, my inbox was flooded. "Jenna, Camilla, please. I didn't mean to be so mean at your party. Can we talk?"
Mom.
"You should have told us. Come back home. We're still family." I stared at those messages for a moment, then deleted them. They didn't want me back. They wanted my money back. But I wasn't theirs to use anymore. A few days after the article went viral, they showed up at my apartment. I was in the middle of packing orders when I heard a knock at the door. I checked the peephole, Jenna and Mom, both holding grocery bags and trying to smile. I didn't open it right away. I just watched them for a minute. It was strange seeing them like that. No makeup, tired eyes, and forced sweetness. The same people who called me poor were now standing on my doorstep with fake kindness. I finally opened the door halfway and stood there silently. "Camilla," my mom said softly, "we're so sorry. We didn't know you were doing so much for us. We just want to fix things." Jenna stepped forward. "I was just joking at your party. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please don't let this come between us. I need to get back to school. I can't afford to lose everything." I looked at her and replied, "You didn't mean to hurt me, but you did it anyway." Repeatedly. They tried to enter, but I blocked the door. "I'm not angry anymore," I said. "But I'm not your wallet either." Their faces dropped. Mom's smile vanished. "So that's it," she snapped. "You're just going to let your own family struggle?" I stayed calm.
No, Mom.
"I'm going to let my users struggle." I closed the door gently in their faces. For the next week, they kept calling. They even left handwritten letters at my building's front desk. But I never answered. And then, the final blow came. I posted a new video on my boutique's social media pages. It wasn't about fashion or products. It was my story, how I had supported my family in secret, how I was humiliated, and how I walked away to protect my peace. The video went viral, again. Women from around the country shared it, thanked me, and called me an inspiration. My sales tripled in 3 days. But the best part? That video made it to Jenna's college group chat. Someone sent me a screenshot of her being dragged online. "You mocked the sister who paid your tuition? Imagine biting the hand that literally paid your bills." She left the group. They wanted apologies, but all they brought were excuses. I was done listening. 3 weeks later, Jenna officially dropped out of college. She didn't tell anyone, but I found out through a friend who worked in the admissions office. Her account had been flagged for non-payment, and the school had revoked her access to the online portal. No more classes. No more future plans as a lawyer, at least not on my dime. Mom, meanwhile, was forced to pick up extra hours at her job. She even reached out to distant relatives, asking for help. But word had spread. Everyone knew the truth now. They didn't want to get involved. They were the ones who always said I didn't matter. But now everyone saw who I really was and who they really were. I didn't lift a finger. I didn't post more videos. I didn't reply to the hate Jenna started spreading in whispers around town. I let the truth do its job. Then, something unexpected happened. A well-known entrepreneur reached out to me after watching my viral story. She said, "Camilla, your journey is powerful. How would you feel about turning your boutique into a national brand?" Within weeks, I signed a major partnership deal that would expand my store into physical pop-up shops across the country. My income didn't just grow, it multiplied. As I walked into my first big warehouse office in Los Angeles, I wore a custom-made suit from my own line. The same girl they once laughed at for being cheap. A reporter asked me during a press interview, "What motivated you to keep going when your own family treated you so badly?" I smiled and said, "I used to be the backbone of people who never respected me. So I became the backbone of something that did." That quote ended up on billboards. The revenge wasn't in fighting back. It was in rising quietly and letting them fall under the weight of their own choices. And just to make it even more poetic, I donated a large sum to a scholarship program for low-income girls trying to get into college. But not in Jenna's name. Never again. A year passed. Life was different now, calmer, richer, and finally mine. I had moved into a stunning condo, overlooking the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, quiet mornings with coffee, and peaceful evenings where I didn't have to explain myself to anyone. No more tiptoeing around people who didn't value me. No more guilt for choosing myself. My online boutique had grown into a full fashion label. I now had a team of designers, marketing experts, and interns who looked up to me not just for my business skills but for my strength. We were even featured in a Forbes article titled "From Invisible to Invincible: Camilla's Rise from Family Betrayal to Fashion Empire." Sometimes I'd see Jenna's old classmates comment on my posts, saying how lucky she had been to have me, and how foolish she was to lose my support. As for Mom, she never reached out again. Not after I sent her a final message. "Thank you for teaching me what silence costs. I've learned never to pay it again." That was it. I didn't hold on to anger. I let it go. Not for them, but for me. Now, I spend my days building women up, hosting workshops, donating to girls who remind me of who I used to be. I teach them this: you don't owe anyone your silence, your money, or your loyalty, especially when they mock your worth. I used to wonder why I had to go through that kind of pain. But now I know. It gave me a backbone made of steel. It gave me my voice. And it gave me a life no one could take credit for but me. If you've ever been underestimated, used, or taken for granted by the very people you tried to help, then Camilla's story is your reminder. Walking away isn't weakness, it's power. What did you think of her journey? Would you have done the same in her place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real, powerful stories that prove one thing: silence isn't strength, but standing up for yourself is. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.